Strategy Sessions by Thirsty Bandit Consulting. Episode 9, Storytelling.
Greetings, everybody. This is Corey Kraychek, and I'm here with Rachel Brown for another episode of Strategy Sessions by Thirsty Bandit Consulting. We have our first duo, Rach, for this week's episode. We have Jesse Eldredge and Carly Jones with Eastfolk Creative. Jesse and Carly, how are you guys doing today?
We're doing well.
Doing great.
It's a beautiful day. We're in Coatesville. We're based out of Coatesville. So yeah, enjoying these cooler temperatures and excited to chat with you guys today.
Yeah, we were talking right before we hit record on this one that you're in a taller studio space. Rachel and I had a chance to get over there a few months ago. It's super cute studio space. So we feel like the sort of the cavernous echo adds to the listener experience so that they can sort of immerse themselves in studio work. Like they're there with Jesse and Carly and they're working through a project and kind of feeling all the vibes within the studio.
We love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Don't be surprised if we hear a train go by
Yeah.
too. So
Good. Sometimes you have to pay for those
Right.
sound effects.
Yeah, this is
So that's-
ambiance.
Yeah, this is good.
Pure ambiance you're giving us right now. This is awesome.
Right.
So this is one of those great examples of following somebody on Instagram for a really long time, loving their work, and then finally just reaching out and starting to have a dialogue. And that's where we were a few months ago with Eastfolk. Jesse and Carly, can you guys just talk a little bit about what you do over there, and then we can dive into some really, juicy questions.
Sure. We are a content studio, which means we help brands and business owners create original, high quality content, both photo and video. I kind of focus on the video production side of things, and Carly handles the photo and creative direction for Eastfolk. So really, we're trying to help brands put out more consistent, high quality content. That's kind of our mission.
yeah, and we definitely like to focus on local brands. We're all about uplifting our community. So those small business owners, that's where our passion really lies.
I think that's so important, right? I mean, because so many times your local business owners struggle with storytelling and content creation, at least at the degree that they really need to produce it in order to be competitive. So I think it's an incredible part of your mission that you try to focus on the little guy from time to time. So that's a great thing. Well, let's talk a little bit about your approach, right? I mean, if you go on to the Eastfolk site or if you visit a social handle, you'll see you're very intentional, almost niche in your style. I believe. I feel like you have a vibe, and Rachel and I have talked about this on this podcast before. From a photography perspective, it's definitely more sort of journalistic in nature, and then from a videography perspective, it feels a little more documentarian. So, I mean, what made you gravitate towards those specific styles?
That's a great question. I think it kind of just came naturally since we're working with business owners that have a lot of stuff to do. They're not quite comfortable on camera sometimes. So naturally, just kind of in order to connect with them and make it like an easy, approachable thing to commit to, we just show up with our cameras and end up documenting their process and kind of like how they run their business essentially. So it isn't this big production that's kind of like scary and intimidating. It's more of this kind of like personal, we're just hanging out on your property today and you can show us around and tell us why you love what you do and how you do what you do. So I think it just kind of comes naturally with working with small business owners. It's kind of like the way we have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps costs low, that's for sure. And also the main thing for us is like, we really want our audience and the small business owners audience to really get to know them, get to know their stories. And we don't want it to feel overly produced where, it doesn't feel authentic anymore. So that's really important for us.
Yeah, we like to say real people, real stories, which just means that like again, it's more about connecting with that person that's in front of our camera and getting to know them than producing this like fancy commercial or this really polished production.
No, I think that's awesome. I think like the time to take in and video too is like it's getting bigger now, right? Like you see a lot of people are filming different content, like and photography is timeless. It will always be timeless. Like you can never really replace what you're able to capture in that way. But as this is kind of evolving, you're seeing these trends kind of take place. There is so much more video now. How can a winery or a hospitality business take these and then kind of use both for their brand positioning? Like, how do you recommend they use that? Or like, what different features should they focus on with each element?
Mm.
I mean, I think it goes, they go hand in hand pretty well. I think like with photography, you can kind of reuse that content a little bit more. Video is like this big star, and then photography is just kind of the vibe that goes around it. So, and plus, like, people need content. They need so much content. So if we can offer video and photo, the more the merrier, because people are posting every day, so they need a lot. So just variety, I think, is really important.
Yeah, and then I think the huge difference obviously is like you can have audio in video and you can talk to your audience and you can make that human connection just by speaking to them. So I think, businesses need to think about like what can they talk to their audience about? What format should that be in and what would be received well? And that can be how you focus your video content. And then photos can kind of be like the beautiful vibe of your facility or whatever, what your ideal client looks like lifestyle. So it all kind of like ends up working hand in hand and helps you connect with your audience.
No, that's awesome. I think too, like if you're talking about programming or if you're redoing parts of your tasting room or if you're kind of going through all of these different changes, there's such a cool way to encapsulate that if you're starting something new or just really focusing on what you're offering at your core. Like there's a little bit of something for everybody, which I think is really, really awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so there's a big difference between how video is consumed when you're watching something on your phone versus something on a larger screen. And actually, I just saw that there was a Nielsen report from the beginning of this year that talked about YouTube viewership actually increasing in larger living room style format screens again. So it seems like the pendulum is swinging again, and more video content, even shorts, YouTube clips, reels are being viewed on larger screens. So how do you guys address that? I mean, when you're shooting, like what kind of strategy do you take, knowing that it could be on a phone or it could be on a screen, it could be virtually really anywhere, projected in any kind of format?
Right. Yeah, it's a great insight. It's honestly a pretty big challenge for us. Um, like technically, the way that we go about it is we shoot everything horizontally in 4K, which then allows you to crop in vertically for like the reels and social media.
Mhm.
Um, so as a filmmaker, you just have to make sure that your framing is correct so that when you do crop in, you're seeing what you actually want the audience to see. Um, but it's a great way for brands to think about it because then you're getting really nice short form content that looks good vertical. And you can also build out more of a long form kind of like video strategy that lives on YouTube. And you're getting, again, it's just more content and two places where audience can land and find you.
We didn't always do it like this, though. I mean, in the beginning, we really struggled with just how to orient the camera for our clients, because we're always going to prefer horizontal. I mean, that's every time we look at a shot, we always prefer the horizontal. But yeah, eventually we were like, we'll just shoot everything horizontal and push in because it's always what looks the best,
Yeah.
in our opinion.
Well, and content repurposing, particularly with really with anyone, even if you have the largest budget in the world, you know, you shouldn't have to be recreating the wheel every single time. So if you're able to do long format video that's going to tell a story in one particular way, but then break up some of that so that it can be done in digestible reels, you know, format. I- You know, that's important. It's a way to stretch your marketing dollars. It's a way to get more value out of the work that's being done. Is that something that, you know, if you're commissioned to do a project, is that something that you're automatically thinking about on behalf of the client, or do you sort of wait for the client to lead you down that path?
I would say a lot of our clients aren't using YouTube at all. Definitely not to its full potential. So it's kind of like it's like another thing to kind of for them to learn and to think about, which I think can be overwhelming. I think ideally, like if you look at what bigger brands are doing, they are building out their YouTube channels, and there's quite a difference in what content lives on YouTube and what content lives on social. So I think in a perfect world, like we would love to help clients think about that and kind of like, what does that mean? What should go on YouTube versus our Instagram or TikTok? But honestly, it hasn't come up in too many conversations just because I don't think a lot of people understand YouTube and the best way to use it and like why could be beneficial for their business.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that we're starting to see a shift socially, right? Like, I think everybody knows like the amount of time that we spend on our phones it's not good. I mean, that our attention spans are so short. So I think that like there's this conscious effort by society to say like, you know, it's better for me to absorb longer content. You know, I think that shift is coming, and I think it's just one of those conversations that we need to keep having, and just try to push people towards that longer form content is what we want.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I think just the holistic methodology, right? I mean, thinking about what are you trying to achieve? Well, we want to tell the story. We want to sell more product. You know, we want our brand to be recognized. Okay, well, here are the tools, but don't be so short-sighted in, you know, just wanting to achieve one thing, right? Well, we want to drive Instagram followers. Okay, well, that's great. We're going to be building all this content for you. How else can we leverage that?
Right.
right.
Yeah.
I think the nice thing is that like there's so much creativity in these industries, right? Like just in wine in general, there's so much creativity. You go into there's so much of it. So if you're coming in, and I think this can just be like a broad scope question as well, not even within like a specific business, but like what inspires you guys? Like what is that kind of little spark that gets you going? And then when you walk into a place, kind of following up, like what are you seeing that gets you excited? I love this kind of like periphery to see it's like cool, like this is getting me jazzed. Like, so what is it that just kind of feeds that for you?
I mean,
You go first.
okay, I like what inspires me, you know, and the whole reason that I really wanted to start Eastfolk was to try and build community, or help other people build community, or just get to know your community members more. So I think that's like, you know, what drives me to help the companies that we're helping, and the businesses that we're helping, is just try to expand, you know, our understanding of our neighbors and each other. So I would say that's what inspires me. And then like when I get to a place, it's the people. I mean, it's always the people. It's the people and their stories and their personalities. And, you know, if it's a good fit, like you can just tell and you just work better and you're more inspired.
Yeah, that's good. I think just like intentionality inspires me. So what does that look like when I walk into a space? If I can tell that someone has thought about it and like they've thought about me walking in and they care about some of these little details. I'm trying to think of a good example. I mean, even like the ambiance, like the lighting and the music that they're playing, and the way they display their food or their bottles, whatever it might be. I think like when I feel like this brand or this place thought about me and like designed it so that I would feel welcome and at home and excited to tell my friends about it. I think that gets me fired up. And then I think from there, as a creative, like, oh my gosh, how can we capture this? How can we get this feeling across through photo and video? And so I think, yeah, that kind of, I love walking into a space and instantly I'm like, oh my gosh, they should do this, or they should talk about this, or they should showcase this.
It's all those little like puzzle pieces like that you get to see, and it's like, all right, how can we arrange the picture? Like, how can we make all of these things fire together? No, I definitely I get that.
Yeah,
This is so prevalent in wine right now because the industry is going through a really difficult sort of market reset moment. And one of the most important things I think that we can advise to brands, both in wine and in hospitality, is, what's your unique value proposition? I mean, what makes you different from every single other brand that's trying to vie for your attention? And you've got to really look inward first and foremost. You have to understand like what are the things personally to you that matter, and then if they can be projected within a customer facing physical space or virtual space, all of those buzzwords like authenticity and intention, right, which we use, and I think collectively the four of us believe very much in, but when you see it, you know the truth to be there, right? And I agree. I mean, Rachel and I have been doing this for a really long time, and we pull a lot of our inspiration from outside of the wine industry because it's fresh, right? You want a fresh perspective on something, and so when you see people doing things in either adjacent or completely different industries, and you think like, how does that correlate to a client, and could they potentially integrate this in based upon what their existing mission and vision is? So those are the kind of things that I think we look for, but I think it's very much in line with what you both said, which is what makes these organizations unique, what makes the brand unique, and what are they telling me when I walk through the door that's going to get me excited to work for them.
yeah. It's that
Well,
first
this
impression. It's like walking in the door, you get a first impression, and then also discovering something on social media, you get a first impression. And that's why content is so important, and putting some serious thought and effort into, because if they find you online for the first time, you want them to be like, oh my gosh, I have to check out this space. And you have to make sure that that comes across clearly. So yeah, it's a fun mix of figuring that out.
it's got to be an exciting story to tell, right? I mean, if it's not going to engage and they don't want to learn more, they're never going to visit. And if they visit and they don't feel like they get enough, they're never going to come back, or they're never going to share with others. So it's certainly cyclical in nature, but it's imperative to be able to tell the right story to the right people.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time today. It's been really fun to talk shop. I'm really hoping we get to work together on a project sometime soon. I love all the work that you guys put out there in the world, and there's several projects that I'm attached to right now that I'm just like, I know Eastfolk will just be great with this. I'm just trying to line things up, but in the meantime, please take a look at their website, take a look at their socials, see the work that we see makes them so special in our little neck of the woods here. And I mean, if a national brand came calling and said, we need your voice, right? I mean, you guys are open to that though, right?
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all global neighbors, right? So I mean, at this point in 2025.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, Jesse and Carly, thanks again for your time. We hope to see you around and enjoy this first week of fall.
Yeah.
You too,
Thank
guys. Thanks for
you.
having us on. Appreciate it.
Take
Cheers,
care.
guys.
All right,
Bye.
guys. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Strategy Sessions by Thirsty Bandit Consulting. Please like, follow, or subscribe at Thirsty Bandit Co.